Hey everybody, welcome back to One Seed, One World. So today we're going to talk about giving your chickens hot peppers or hot pepper flakes, hot pepper powder, all hot pepper things related. So, first thing is peppers in general. You might be concerned with feeding your chickens peppers in general because they're part of the nightshade family. I have read a lot of times where people say, oh, be careful if you have chickens and you let them free range out around your garden area if you're growing things that are in the nightshade family. Things like peppers, tomatoes, potatoes, eggplant, tobacco, those kinds of things. Because members of the nightshade family have an alkaloid in them that's called solanine, which can cause some health issues, like the high levels of it in tobacco can cause cancer. But in other types of plants, if you get too much of it, it can cause some stomach distress, diarrhea, vomiting. If a small child were to get a high level of it, it could cause other issues, things like as bad as like seizures or death, those kinds of things. So they tell you, because solanine, the alkaloid solanine is also bad for chickens, that you should be careful because chickens will go up and start eating leaves and those kinds of things, right? One thing to remember is not to confuse solanine that is in nightshade plants with solenoid. Solenoid is a part that's in your car, which I don't know what it does. I'm not really a car guy, but it's a car part. So solenoid, cars, solanine, nightshade family. Either way, you wouldn't want to eat either one of them. Now, I've had chickens for several years now that have wandered around my garden and get into my raised beds and will eat things. They are not interested in plants of the nightshade family. The closest I ever had was last year when I had potato berries coming on, which are pretty high in solanine. I had one that had fallen off on the ground. One of my hens came over, picked it up, and spit it right back out again. She had no interest in that. Because solanine has a lot of bitter attributes to it. Birds are not interested in that. They don't want things that don't taste good. And so they most likely are not going to be eating your pepper plants and tomato plants and that sort of thing. So, number two is people are concerned maybe about giving their chickens hot peppers because they're like, oh, I don't want to, the hot peppers are hot. They burn my mouth. I don't want to feed them something that's going to hurt them. Cool thing is that chickens and most other birds, with the exception of like seagulls, don't have heat receptors like mammals do. They could eat a Carolina Reaper, the scorpion peppers, all kinds of things, and not know the difference between that and a bell pepper. So you're not going to hurt them. The cool thing is that hot peppers in general, have a whole lot of health benefits, both for humans and for your birds. They got vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin C, vitamin E. And then, of course, the hotter the pepper, the more capsaicin is in it, which capsaicin can help fight bacterial infections. In chickens, it can help prevent a worm infestation because getting that capsaicin in them, the higher it is, does not provide a good environment in their gut for worms to get established. Now, it's not going to be a cure. If you've got a worm situation with your chickens, you might have to do some actual worming medicine like valbazin, however you want to pronounce it. But feeding them things like hot peppers or also squash and pumpkin seeds can help too. They can be natural dewormers. They might help get rid of some types of worms and also help prevent worms from getting established. If they continue to eat these kind of things, it gets an environment going in their gut that's not really a cool place for worms to hang out with. They don't like that either. So those are some of the benefits that you can have from feeding your chickens hot pepper flakes or hot pepper powder, or even fresh hot peppers if they will eat them. Mine will eat certain parts of it. Some of they're weird. You know, some of the hens will eat some of the red parts of the fresh peppers, and then others don't want that. They only want the seeds, and then others aren't interested at all. So it just depends on, you know, your hens and how picky they are. They're kind of like us. They've got their different tastes. So you can, you know, put these kinds of hot peppers in. You can put hot peppers in with your feed so that they will get bits of it as they're eating along and get some of these health benefits from it. Number 3, how much do you give them? So it's a very small amount. I mean, a chicken on average, a regular sized hen, I'm not talking about bantams, but a regular sized hen or rooster will probably eat about a 1/4 pound of food per day, I think it is. Might not even be quite that much. But really, you only need about half a gram to 1 gram per chicken. Now, if you own chickens, you know as well as I do that it's going to be different for every chicken. They steal from each other. You know, they're not all going to eat the same amount, and you can't specifically portion out their food per chicken, especially if you have a whole flock together. So I find that an easy way to do it is to just take some pepper flakes and sprinkle it over the food, and they'll get whatever they want or need, and that kind of takes care of it. So besides the health benefits, an additional benefit of adding hot pepper powder or hot pepper flakes or fresh hot peppers, more so the powder or the flakes though, let's take the fresh out of it, but if you're using a hot pepper powder or hot pepper flakes that you mix in with their feed, they don't have the heat receptors, right? Mammals do. What does that mean? Rodents don't care to get into their feed if there's hot pepper flakes and hot pepper powder in there. So that helps keeps mice, squirrels, rats, those kind of things from getting into your wherever you're feeding them, and can help reduce your rodent population. Now, it's not going to kill the rodents off. They're just not going to be interested in getting into your feed. And if you already have some, and you start adding the hot pepper stuff to your feed, might make them want to move out and go to the neighbor's place. An additional note is that the capsaicin in hot peppers can raise your bird's body temperature. So you might want to, if you're feeding it to them year round, you might want to give them maybe half or less than that during the summertime, because it can raise their body heat and might cause, you know, some issues. They might get too hot, basically, if you're having a really hot summer or live in a hot area. But it can help in the wintertime because it helps raise their body temperature some, which can help prevent things like frostbite and them getting too cold if you're having an extremely cold winter. So that's another benefit of using hot pepper flakes. And finally, the last note is, what kind of peppers do you use? Well, there's all kinds. Anything that has heat. It doesn't have to, I mean, most of the studies and stuff that have been done on it is, you know, normally centered around kind of cayenne and that kind of heat level, which is around 30,000 to 50,000 BTUs. 30,000 units on the Scoville scale that we measure the heat in a pepper. Like this year, I have a Lutschauer paprika pepper here. This runs anywhere from 250 to 1,000. I'm pretty sure mine are a little bit higher just because they have a little bit of a kick to them. So, I mean, you can use stuff that's low like that. You can use, granted, you're not going to get so much out of this little tiny chili pepper that I have here, Thai chili pepper, compared to this, but this is going to be a lot hotter than this is. But everything in between, you could use jalapenos, you could use cayenne peppers, you could use Carolina Reapers if you want to. Dry them and, you know, grind them up. Like, I've got some dried red peppers here that I did in the dehydrator. I did these at about 125 degrees, I think, for about 16 hours or so. So, you know, you could dry them that way. You could dry them in your oven. You could hang them up to dry. It's just going to take them longer, you know, to get dry. If you're hanging them, it might take you a few days. Just make sure that before you dry them and feed them to your chickens, get rid of the stems, because you don't want the nightshady stuff, the solanine, going into your chickens. So make sure they're not getting any stems or leaves or any other parts of the plant. You only want the fruit when you dry them and remove them. But they can have the seeds. The seeds are fine. In fact, the seeds are great. Some of my chickens really love the seeds over the rest of the parts of the pepper. And one additional thing is that spicy peppers have carotenoids in them, which I don't really know everything that carotenoids do, but one thing that they do for chickens, when they get more of it in their system, it makes the yolks in their eggs much more of an orangish color, like gives them a deep, darker color, so that can help. Now, there are some legends out there that say that if you give your chickens hot pepper flakes on the regular, it will increase their egg production. However, there have been some actual official scientific studies done on this, and they did not find any change in production, only in yolk color. So, because you know, this doesn't contain protein or calcium, which kind of helps boost their egg production. So you're not probably going to see egg production out of feeding them hot peppers, but you're going to get all the other benefits. So it's going to help boost their immunity. You're getting some extra vitamins. It can help reduce the worm infestations or worms getting established. It's going to help keep rodents out of your food, and you know, it's just, and it can raise their body temperature in the wintertime when it's super cold. So all kinds of good stuff. So I hope you found that information helpful, and try growing yourself some hot peppers this year. Even if you don't like the hot stuff, your chickens will. So, you know, try it. Try different varieties, dry your own, grind it up, add it to the feed. Your chickens will thank you for it. Whatever's going on in your neck of the woods, I hope it's working out great for you and that you are having a fantastic day. Thanks for hanging out with me again today. We will see you again soon. Namaste.